So going to the doctor is never pleasant, but I had a particularly crazy time at the doctor. Um, I was in my mid 20s. So it's about 10 years ago. And it was actually when I still lived with my parents. But my friends and I visited New York City, right? And my parents live in upstate New York. So as the crow flies, about 50 miles north of the city. So we were driving into Brooklyn. I forget why, but my friends and I drove into Brooklyn, did whatever we were doing, and drove back to Brooklyn, right? And on the way back, and the way there, I was fine. On the way back, my back hurt so bad, right? My tailbone, that I actually couldn't sit on the car seat. Like I was doing this for those just listening, like I was hovering over the seat. My tailbone was in such pain. And every time we hit a bump, I had a terrible like stabbing feeling, almost like someone was taking like a pin and stabbing it in my tailbone, right? So I went to a doctor. I went to the same doctor that my mom has, actually. I went to the pediatrician for way too long. I was one of those people that drove. I remember the last time I went to the pediatrician, I drove to the pediatrician. That's how old I was, right? That's too much, right? I'm fucking 16. I'm jacking off every day, and I'm sitting waiting for the doctor, and there's like Mickey Mouse cartoons on the wall, right? Weird. Anyway, so when it was time to see an adult doctor, this is kind of weird, I guess, but I just used the same primary care doctor my mom had, right? So she knew me, she knew my family. She's this nice older lady. And you know, I go to see her because I didn't know what specialist to see for your tailbone. I had no idea. And there was no, as far as I could see, there was no bruising or anything. Nothing happened. I didn't fall. So I walk into her office, and she does a regular physical, first of all, and everything was normal. I mean, I was a bit chubby in those days. I thought maybe it was something related to my weight because between 23 to 25, I went from a normal weight to at 5'6", I was 190, which just reached the threshold for obese. So I thought maybe this is like a fat guy thing. I'm like, okay, my tailbone hurts now. And I fully expected her to tell me to lose weight. She didn't. There was another moment where she was a bit judgmental in a way I didn't expect. Because I was, people that have listened know that I used to drink alcoholically, right? I'm sober now, but I used to binge drink every night, basically. And she goes, now I know you're not smoking or drinking, and I've never smoked, but I said, I do drink. And she was like, how much? And I said, a couple of drinks a night, right? Which is a classic alcoholic lie. And she went, that's too much. I just thought that was a little odd. So then we get to the tailbone issue, right? And she goes, okay, well, stand up, lift up your shirt, and pull down your pants, right? And this woman's old enough to be my grandmother, so it's kind of awkward, right? And she, you know, she looks in and then she spreads my cheeks open, right? Now the issue is with my tailbone, but she spreads my cheeks open. And she goes, oh, okay. Which is not something you want to hear when someone's, you know, looking at your rear end. So I could feel like the elevated, like anxiety. I could just feel it. It's palpable. And she immediately puts on gloves. And then, you know that the bench that they have when you see your doctor with the sheet of paper, right? She puts another sheet over that sheet, right? And I go, is everything okay? She's like, I'm going to need you to lay down here on the bench with that tone. And I'm just like, all right. Is everything fine? She's like, yeah, I just need to make sure this isn't herpes or something. And I'm like, herpes in my butthole? That I'm not someone that puts things in my butthole. Can I still get herpes? That's what I'm thinking. I'm not saying any of this shit. And then she's really investigating in there for a while. And then finally there's this pause and she goes, Mr. Sheehan, are you a homosexual? Now, I've been asked that question before, but never so clinically. The bullies phrased it differently is what I'm saying. But I said no. And she said, are you sure? And I went, yeah, I'm sure. What's going on? And she goes, well, it looks like you have anal herpes. And not a great thing to hear, right? I'm freaking out. Again, no one's been back there, but I'm like, I guess in my mind, I'm like, well, the doctor's telling me I have anal herpes. I guess I have it on my penis and then it traveled to my butthole, right? And I'm like, I'm pretty proud of myself because externally I'm fine, but inside I'm screaming, right? You go through that thing whenever someone tells you that whenever you think you might have one of the permanent STDs, you're like, oh, I got to have this fucking conversation with every date at some point, and then, I'm thinking like, fuck, and I got to explain like it was on my penis, but then it traveled to my asshole. And then she goes, oh, Mr. Sheehan, my apologies. What you actually have is a pelondial cyst. And I'm like, what is that? And she goes, well, what a cyst is basically it's something on your skin that gets infected, and pelondial is your tailbone, and a pelondial cyst basically is you've always had ingrown hair in your tailbone, and because that's you were probably wiping, and then the bacteria got into that ingrown hair, and then it grew into a cyst. So basically, what I'm going to have to do is send you to a specialist, and they're going to cut off the cyst, right? And it's same day, local, so don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. And I said, so just to be clear, no anal herpes? And she goes, no, sorry about that. She should lose her fucking job, right? Like, what's the Hippocratic oath? First, do no harm. Second, don't say anal herpes unless you're sure. Crazy, dude. Meanwhile, I just had a pelondial cyst, which wasn't a big deal. It really wasn't. Everything she described is exactly how it went. I had to walk like a gorilla for like a week where the only way it didn't hurt is if I was hunched over, right? And, I mean, I don't know if you've had a pelondial cyst, if there's any sisters out there, please just tell me in the comments. I want to know I'm not alone. And if you had a bizarre thing happen to you at the doctor's office, I want to hear it. Let's get a dialogue going. I want to know if anyone has had anything crazy happen. Has anyone been misdiagnosed? Please sound off in the comments.